What's up guys, this is the Comeback Kid back again, and I'm going to start doing a series of videos that some people have done over the past year, and that is video game memories videos in which I talk about some of my more memorable video game memories over the years since I've been a gamer. This one's going to be an earlier one because I'm going to try to go chronologically. Probably when I was about 5 or 6, I went to visit my dad, who lives in Florida, and I went on a plane by myself. I was about 5 or 6, like I said, and I went to Florida, went to SeaWorld and Disney World and all that crap, and I came back, and my mother bought me some games. Now, I had played video games prior to this. I actually had a NES, which was my first video game system, not counting a Coleco Gemini thing that my dad had that I played, which was technically my first video game system, although I was probably around 3 or 4, so I wasn't really comprehending or knowing what I was doing. So I did have a NES prior to this, and I had Zelda and Mario and Duck Hunt and all that, but these were like the first real games that I got to play as a gift. And she basically went to a game store in my town that was called Paradise Video. Now, this is your typical mom and pop shop back in the very early 90s who sold the typical things that were found in video games back then, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, stuff like that. And she really doesn't know anything about video games, so she kind of went in. I'm not sure if she asked the game store guy what were good games, or if she just went in and bought some of the bargain bin games. But regardless, this is what I was given, and I took what I got, and I actually liked these games that I got. And we didn't have a lot of money because I was raised by a single parent, and regardless of not having much money, I got a lot of stuff that I wanted. Somehow she was able to get these things for me. And it's not Mario 3 or anything, but these games I grew to love, and actually I really ended up enjoying. So first off, there's a game that I don't have here. I don't know if I lost it over time or whatever, but that is The Adventures of Bayou Billy. And the game isn't that good, honestly, but I just have memories of playing that game. It's kind of like a side-scrolling kind of a beat-em-up game in which you play as like this bayou guy. He's kind of a cowboy, and you're beating up swamp thugs and crocodiles and stuff like that. And there's also like a driving mechanic, and the game is really difficult and kind of, the controls are wonky, but I just remember playing that. I don't have that here because I lost it over time. But I also got Ikari Warriors 2, which is not very good at all compared to the arcade port, I guess. There's tons of flickering in this game. And as you can see, there's actually a sticker still on there from the Paradise Video place that she got it from. And this store is long gone. But Ikari Warriors 2, you can play 2 players in the game. It's very flickery. Very difficult, and I just remember playing tons of this game with my friends. The Goonies 2, this game, it's kind of like it's a side-scrolling kind of an adventure game, but you can enter doors and go into this first-person dungeon crawler kind of a concept, gameplay type, and it's pretty interesting. I think there was a Goonies 1 in Japan that never came out here. But we did get the Goonies 2, and I never actually seen the Goonies movie because I was too young at the time when it came out. But I just knew there was a game called the Goonies 2, and she got this for me, and it's really fun. It's kind of confusing back then because there's no internet, or I don't think there was a strategy guide for this. I'm sure you can get info on it in Nintendo Power, but I didn't know where to go. And I just wandered around, but I had fun doing that, just kind of wandering around trying to find what to do. Another game I got was Rygar. This is based, again, on the arcade port from Tecmo, and it's a side-scrolling adventure game once again, but this guy has like a shield and he like swings it around and can kill enemies, and it's pretty fun adventure game. Once again, I didn't really know what to do because there's just parts where you're progressing from left to right, and eventually you have to go up, and then eventually you go in these doors and you find this old sage, and he'll give you riddles on what you're supposed to do next. And from then I was kind of confused, didn't know what to do. Of course, I was a little kid, so you know. But years later, I actually went back and beat this game because, you know, I followed a walkthrough. But I actually went through and beat the game, so that was pretty cool. Next we have Archon. This game, it has cool cover art, as you can see, but it's actually a chess kind of a battle game. And this is a very underrated game, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about this game, and I really love this game. And it was brought out to tons of systems, the NES, I think the Commodore, tons of computers got it. Anyway, gameplay type is similar to chess. You have two players. You can either face a computer or a human opponent, and one person's got the dark side, one person's got the light side, and it's set up like a chessboard. You take turns moving your guys. The guys in front are like the pawns, who are the weaker guys, and the guys in the back are like your kings and your queens and your bishops and stuff like that. The dark side has like counterparts to what your light side would have, like the light side would have like a phoenix, and like the dark side would have this evil shapeshifter. And the dark side would like have trolls, and the light side would have like, I don't know, golems or something like that. Anyway, once you move, unlike chess, your guys don't necessarily lose to like the stronger guys. Like your pawns don't necessarily have to die to like a bishop or something. You actually, when you go on the same square, you actually enter a battle sequence, and once you're in the battle sequence, you're in this big arena, and then you guys counteract with each other in like a real battle. Like you can move your guy around, and like I said, the pawns kind of don't really have much of an attack. Like the evil guys just have these little paddles or clubs, and yet your stronger guys can actually like shoot projectiles. So while you can win with a pawn against a really stronger guy like a bishop or something on the other side, it's very unlikely, but it is possible. So it's not similar to chess in that sense, but it is basically set up like a chess type of a game. And the game is very fun, and I highly recommend it if you haven't played it, or if you see this game in your retro game stores, give it a shot because it's a very fun game. I actually have very fond memories of my two friends coming over and playing this game. I would actually watch them play because they didn't have the game, and I've played it tons of times. And this was actually during like Super Nintendo and Genesis had been out for a while, and we would still go back and play this game, and I would watch them play, and it's I have a lot of fond memories of watching them play the game back in the day. Next we have Tom and Jerry. This game is, I guess it's pretty simple to pick up this game because you know kind of what you're getting, I guess, in a sense, because I guess she was familiar with the Tom and Jerry cartoon license. So it's actually a platforming game made by High Tech Expressions, I guess. Another game that I don't hear very many people talk about, but it's one of my favorite platformers on the Nintendo. You play as Jerry, and I guess your nephew, I forget what his name is on the television show, but your nephew is kidnapped by Tom, I believe, and you have to rescue him. And it's a very simple platforming game, except instead of going just from left to right, a lot of times you're moving up in the level until you get the exit. And Jerry uses mothballs as his basic form of attack, and he has to fight like insects and toys that come to life and things like that. And he can get better weapons that are laying around in the form of power-ups. Like, he can grab bubblegum and use the bubblegum to go to a higher point in the level. And the levels move on like through different rooms in the house and stuff like that. You'll go from like the basement to the attic to like the toy room and to like the sewers and stuff like that. The game is kind of difficult in certain spots, but I really had fun with this game. So if you haven't played it, check out Tom and Jerry for the Nintendo. I really enjoyed it. And probably the hidden gem for me that was given to me was Dragon Spirit. Now this is a game, once again this has the Paradise sticker on there still. This is a game that was, it was in the arcade, but it was ported to the TurboGrafx as well, which is a better version. But it also came out on the Nintendo. Now the Nintendo version is a lot different than the arcade version in the sense that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Nintendo version is much easier than the arcade version. You actually have a life bar in the corner, and you can take quite a bit of hits before you actually die, and you have a bunch of lives too. And for being young back in the day, that actually, you know, made it a lot easier for me, because I, you know, wasn't that very good at games, in a sense, to these shmup games, which I failed to mention. This is a shmup, and you play as a dragon, and the power-ups you get are in the form of, you get stronger fireballs, and you can get multiple heads on your dragon. You can get up to 3 heads, and of course then you'll have more firepower. And you can also change colors of dragons, which have different fireball patterns. You can get a spread shot, or you can get these long, very strong fireballs when you're a green dragon. And the game's a vertical shooter instead of a horizontal one, which I prefer vertical shooters. And it's a very fun game. You go through, there's actually a story to it at the beginning, but I kind of forget what it's about. I think it is pretty much, you're trying to, I forget what it is. I'm not even trying to pretend like I know. I forget. But at the beginning of the game, you fight like in this dream sequence or something, and if you beat the first level, you go on to the hard mode of the game, and if you lose the level, you can go on to the easier part of the game, easier difficulty. And back then, I played through both of them, and if you die, if you end up playing the easier version, there's different levels. If you play the harder version, there's more levels. And I went through all of them. And the game's very fun. You go through like typical dragon levels, like volcano levels, jungle levels, underwater levels, and each time you rescue a different princess. And you can go to ice levels, and then eventually there's a boss at the end of each level, and it's a very fun vertical shoot 'em up. And this is one of my favorite Nintendo games, because I have such fond memories playing this game when I was a kid. And you know, for my mom not knowing anything about video games really in general, picking up this game and playing it and it actually being a good game is pretty amazing to me. And it's not just a good game to me because I'm nostalgic about it. You can go back and play this game and it's actually still a very good game. And I'm sure the TurboGrafx version is better in terms of graphics and everything. There was also a sequel to this game called Dragon Saber, I believe. I believe that was only released in Japan on the PC Engine CD. Or no, it might be the PC Engine or the PC Engine CD too. But anyway, it was only released in Japan. I do want to play the game sometime if I ever get a PC Engine. I do want to play that. But if you haven't played Dragon Spirit, give it a shot. I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite Nintendo games. And this is just part 1 of video game memories that I have in store for you guys. I will put up probably another one here pretty soon. This one's going to be like on probably the same kind of thing, except it's N64 games that I got for Christmas one year. So we'll talk about that next time. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it, and see you later. Peace.